What is up, guys? Sam here with another video, and today we're going to be doing another one of your favorites. It's going to be a even better gemstone farm, and this one again revolves around some whisper cheese. So if you are trying to farm gemstones for whatever you're going to need them for in the future and for the pets currently right now, definitely stick around and see what this is all about. So the whisper, the greatest class for these gemstone farms by far, because of this ability right here. As you can see, it draws away the specters on the map as well as the bosses, and then on top of that you're actually immune to the specter damage while you are in your cast. So it doesn't actually deal any damage to you because technically they are projectiles. I know that's weird, it's just they couldn't think of a good word for exactly what they are, so they went with projectile, but it really just means skill. So you're actually immune to skills in this instance. So you can see right now I'm getting hit by the third boss's fire, but it's actually not doing anything to me. Right now we're playing with almost every single multiplier on. Most of them are maxed out, and the only ones that aren't are going to be enemy damage, because enemy damage is definitely the hardest one to deal with. In general, I'm not really taking that much damage overall, and it wouldn't matter because another great thing about the Whisperer's ability is that the Spirit can regen 10 HP per enemy hit every single time it hits an enemy. So you're really revolving around the fact that you're just hitting enemies so often, and then throw in evasion, you're good to go. And that's the greatest thing about the pet fox, is that it actually deals damage to enemies every single time you evade an ability. And since my evasion right now, as you can see, is at 80%, I'm going to be evading a lot. So a lot of your boss DPS is actually going to be coming from the fox, which is a really cool place to get your damage from, honestly. And as you saw right there, you just want to make sure you grab that boss and bring him back towards you so that you can get the chest. Otherwise, you're going to struggle a little bit getting chests. So if you don't care, you don't really need them, honestly. By all means, don't worry about it. But if you want to get a chest so that, like I did, you can upgrade the colorless glyph, which is a very important part of this guide, you can go for it. So we know we want to go Whisper. Alright, so what about Heritage? Heritage does not matter at all. I like to go Nomad because Nomad gives you the ability to find the weapon skills that you are looking for, and while it's not, you know, a 100% requirement that you have specific weapon skills and passives, I think it's very important. This way you're able to get your evasion, you're able to get your colorless glyph, and you're able to get your death sting as early as possible. Now, as you can see, I have no other defensive passives down here other than evasion, so I'm just doing this with your base HP, your base defense, all that good stuff. Nothing else is upgraded. So if you want to grab, you know, buckler, if you want to grab shield, which I'm going to pick up one anyways, because sometimes that one thing can really help, but I don't have max HP, I don't have HP regen. All of this HP that I'm regenning back is strictly from hitting enemies. And now that we have evasion up to 80%, you know, miniaturizes level 10, evasion's online, you're not going to be getting hit by a lot of things anyways, because of the modifiers, most of them are nullified just by the fact that you're playing the Whisperer, and I think that is the best part of the Whisperer. And the next greatest thing about this build is that it revolves around Death Sting, and Death Sting, that means you get to one-shot characters. There's a chance, it's a 15% chance at max rank, to one-shot enemies. And the great thing about that is that no longer do the enemy HP modifiers or the player damage modifier matter, because it doesn't matter how much damage you're doing. It's not about that. It's about dealing damage as often as possible. That's why we're playing with Colorless Glyph and Purifying Circle, because these are the two abilities that damage things the most often. You might argue that Spectral Bow could be pretty good about it too, but these two have a very clear and distinct AoE, and that is what is most important. We're hitting the most amount of the screen in comparison to all of the other abilities. So in regards to Heritage, I think Nomad, that's going to help you pick those easier. And in regards to weapon skills and passives, your requirements are Colorless Glyph and Purifying Circle in regards to weapon skills, and then Miniaturize and Death Sting in regards to passives. Everything else is by choice. You can fill in with anything you want. I like to pick up certain things like Fireball because killing bosses is very slow. That's one thing you're going to notice, that the bosses just die very slowly, but since you're playing the Whisper, none of their abilities can actually hit you. So you don't don't really care. It takes a lot longer, but it actually has no impact on the game whatsoever. So don't worry about it if it takes a little bit longer for them to die than normal, because that's the whole point. And then in regards to what bosses you need to really look out for, the first boss is gonna die the slowest because you'll probably have the least amount of weapon damage. For the most part, you'll just kill that with your spirits. Just go ahead, place one of the spirits on him about at this distance. You can see my guy died right there. That's where his chest is. And so you can actually set that just, you know, kind of close to you so that he's inside the colorless glyph and the purifying circle, and just whittle him down very slowly. The second boss is probably the least worrisome boss for this whole build because it's just the goblin leader that slaps his belly and brings pigs over. And you know what those pigs are? They are projectiles, so you will not take damage from them. That's why the Whisper is OP. Same thing with the third boss you just saw. The third boss just dies very, very slowly and does no damage to you because guess what? His ability is also a projectile, so you can't get hit by anything, and this just nullifies so many of the modifiers and makes you so much stronger. So we're almost coming up to the third boss here. I'm kind of just grabbing whatever I feel like. If you guys are struggling with anything in particular, feel free to pick up more defensive abilities, by all means. I think the best ones are gonna be anything that has to do with size. So I like to get Ascension up. Wow, I must have just picked up an EXP that had been on the ground since the beginning of the game because I'm getting so much experience right now. That was like, this is like 9 or 10 levels so far. Holy. In regards to map events, you don't really need to worry about those either. The crystals, they increase, you know, the HP and the damage of the enemies, but again, the HP doesn't matter. We're not worried about that. You're going to be one-shotting the large majority of the mobs. Like you can see here, everything's dying and it's the last minute something spawning anyways. But the crystals, don't worry about them. You don't need it. The only bummer is you're missing out on the relics, but truthfully, it doesn't matter at all. If you are fortunate enough to get one of the skulls, which, you know, I would say land, well, I don't know, once a game at least you'll get one skull, right? Just hope that it's past like 10 or 15 minutes, you'll take out 2 of the crystals, and you're good to go for the most part. But other than that, you don't really have to worry about the map event here. And as you can see, this is what the final boss looks like. It doesn't matter at all. It's not going to deal any damage to you. I try and keep him as close as I can so that I get the purifying circle damage, the fireball damage, every single weapon ability I have to hit him. But other than that, you don't really have to worry about it, and that's the best part. Damage doesn't matter, it takes a little bit longer, but overall this is a free farm for gemstones. Come out to 1230 gemstones. It's around like 1200 to 1250, no real big difference in there. So that's going to be a really easy farm for you, so you can max out your pets. Look at all this damage we took, 103,000. Doesn't matter though, but look at how little damage we deal. This is nothing in comparison to how many things there are. And we got 9k souls, so it's not like our clear was that terrible. It just doesn't matter how much damage we do, and that's the best part. So now let me go ahead and show you guys what I was running in regards to modifiers. So enemy HP, you want to put it 500%, enemy speed 300%. I put my player speed at 99% so that if I for some reason missed the boss dying on top of me, I can very slowly make it over to that chest. It has to be within like 2 character spaces of you, otherwise it's just gonna take too long to get. But I put it at 99% specifically for that. Player damage, you just reduce it all the way because it doesn't matter. Then HP, mess around with this however you want. I never got below 2/3 HP every single time I do these runs, so I can increase this, get pretty close to 130, but I didn't think it was worthwhile, so I generally leave it. I just did it on a flat 120 for this, just so the number was nice, but you can put it at like 50%, that's probably safe. 60's fine, 70's fine. Once you get up here, it might be a little bit more difficult, but I wouldn't worry too much about it as long as you leave it right here. And then you're going to turn all these on, because enemy projectiles don't matter because you're playing Whisper. Projectiles don't hit you while you're in the spirit form, so this is just a free 9x multiplier. Same thing with enhanced bosses. Doesn't matter if their attacks are enhanced or hit harder, they don't hit you. So another free 9x multiplier. And then enhanced events is even funnier in this one because sure, it spawns like 20 of those specters twice, throughout the game, but one, they can't deal damage to you while you're in Whisper form because again, they are projectiles, and you can move them away with your ability anyway. So you just put them like 2 inches of your screen away from you, you're good to go. So this is just free, like 27 times modifier. Enemy damage, this is one that you can mess with as you like. I think this is the least important modifier because, like, in comparison to HP, which obviously was valued as more as the multiplier is much larger, enemy damage is only 9. It's not even that big of a deal. So I just like to leave this at 0 so you don't have to worry about it. This would be the last modifier I would touch if I was going for, you know, a max run, basically. But for this, just to make farming as easy as possible, definitely just go with a flat 120, hit enemy damage at 0%, and then mess with these other ones. Mostly just player HP, leaves all these, you know, at full, but mess with this as much as you feel comfortable, and you'll hit around like 1200 gemstones every single run. So I hope this helps you guys out. I know there's a lot of really cool pets out there that you should definitely try and do a bunch of different builds with them. So I highly recommend this so you can just get your 10,000 gemstones that you need to get all of the pets to max rank really quickly, and then you can just play the game however you want. As always, guys, I really appreciate all the support, and I will see you on the next one.